Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian and what's been the biggest day of strike action in a decade.
Yes, classrooms left half empty as teachers in the Thames Valley join rallies to demand more pay.
Teachers can't continue as it is with the pay and the lack of funding for our schools.
Well, the strikes have led to familiar scenes across the region, a return to homeschooling as families were left to make alternative arrangements.
The impact is on us as a family trying to help them cope with studying at home, but really they need to be kind of in the school system where everything's kind of, a bit more ordered.
Good evening. Teachers in the Thames Valley were among thousands of workers who joined picket lines and rallies in the biggest day of industrial action in a decade.
On what's being called Walkout Wednesday, they have been calling for a pay rise to match the cost of living. But the government says that would only help fuel inflation.
Well, it's meant many schools in the region had to partially or completely close. Wesley Smith has been at the picket lines for us.
It was no ordinary school run at Redlands Primary in Reading this morning. Members of the National Education Union on strike, saying they're at the end of their tether over pay and conditions.
We've not had pay rises in so long, and those that have been offered have been unfunded. So unfunded means that the school has to pay it out of their existing budget.
I've come out here just to offer my support to my team. This decision they haven't taken lightly. It's been a tough call for them. These are a bunch of dedicated professionals who do a fantastic job on a daily basis.
Here at Windmill Primary at Headington in Oxford, around half the classrooms stayed empty. Others, like this maths class, went ahead as scheduled because, unlike some places, the head was given notice about which staff members would strike.
The only way you do get your voice outside sometimes, I'm afraid, is to have to put your head above the parapet and take action. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be able to sit down, talk to a government, and they should listen.
All the parents we spoke to here also said they supported the strike.
The schools are being critically underfunded by this government, but have been for a long time.
I am in full support of the teachers.
It's entirely justified. The system is being broken. It's completely underfunded.
Elsewhere, though, some schools closed altogether, and the impact was felt by pupils like Aurora and her siblings and their parents.
They've been trying to sort of cope with studying at home, but really they need to be kind of in the school system where everything's kind of, a bit more ordered.
On a day of multiple industrial action, people in Oxford city centre had mixed views about the teachers' strike.
I'm an ex-teacher myself. I do feel sorry for them. I think they should get more pay, but I don't think striking is helping the children.
I support them going on strike. I mean, they have to get their point of view out there.
It's been a long time since they've actually had an increase, so good luck to them.
At lunchtime, thousands went on the march.
This is the first time many of these teachers will have gone on strike or indeed come on a march like this. But there's a great sense of anger and determination to see this through.
We've got another day of action planned on the 2nd of March. That gives the government a long time in which to get together with our union leaders and to negotiate a settlement.
The average classroom teacher is on £39,500. The independent pay review body recommended 5% for experienced teachers and 8.9% for new teachers. There's also progression pay within those salary bands as well. So 40% of classroom teachers will actually be getting pay rises up to 15.9% this year.
But those words were not having an impact on strikers today. They say they'll strike again next month unless there's a change of heart. Wesley Smith, ITV News, Oxford.
Our social affairs correspondent Christine Alsford joins us now. Christine, as we heard Wesley say, there are more strikes on the way unless this is resolved.
Yes, indeed. The next ones in our region are actually scheduled for March the 2nd, March the 15th and March the 16th. So there is quite a gap, which means there is time for a compromise to be reached.
And in terms of education, it's not just schools that have seen staff walk out today.
No, we also saw the beginning of university staff taking action. That's with the UCU union. That's a long-running dispute over pay and conditions. And that disruption is at up to 150 universities and involved 18 days of walkouts between now and the break-up for the Easter holidays. So potentially lots of disruption there. We've been speaking to those at the University of Reading about what it might mean for them.
it is just difficult as it is directly affecting our studies, and I think we also pay so much for our education that it is quite impactful for us.
It affects the quality of study and learning process.
It hasn't really affected me, luckily, but a lot of my housemates are affected, and I think it's really going to disrupt them.
Previously, we've only had very limited numbers of staff going on strike, so the impact on students has been quite restricted. We have a well-worn process now whereby students who are missing lectures can report that online and the classes are rescheduled.
But of course, with summer exams just around the corner, it is a worrying time for students and also potentially reignites that whole debate, of course, of value for money for those £9,250 a year tuition fees.
Christine, I think we'll be speaking again very soon. Thank you very much.
Well, let's cross over to Westminster now and our political correspondent Phil Hornby. Phil, we've got a little over a month until that next strike date by the teachers here in the south. Is the government likely to budge before then and resolve the issue?
Well, you're right, Matt. As Christine said, there is time for talking. But at the moment, the government show no sign of budging. We heard from the Education Secretary that she thinks most teachers are getting a pretty decent pay rise. And that point was made again in the House of Commons here by the Prime Minister today.
We've actually given teachers the highest pay rise in 30 years. It includes a 9% pay rise for newly qualified teachers and record investment in their training and development. I am clear that our children's education is precious and they deserve to be in school today being taught.
And Phil, teachers not the only people striking today.
Now, you can say that again. This was the scene at Newbury today. There's been another train strike today. There'll be another one on Friday, as well as the train strikes, of course. We've got health workers, nurses, ambulance drivers. We've got border force people, all sorts of public sector workers on strike at the moment. And that led to this angry exchange at Prime Minister's questions today.
While he sides with extremist protesters and union bosses, we stand up for hard-working Britons and school children.
After 13 years in power, trying to blame the Labour Party for his failure to sort out the strikes it's rank pathetic.
So there you have it. It is a winter of discontent for people in the Thames Valley, and with no sign of these strikes getting settled, that might well turn into a spring of discontent.
OK, Phil, for the time being, thank you.